David Carlucci is with us, Democratic strategist, former Democratic New York State Senator. Can his political life survive the lack of support he now has from top Democrats? Chuck Schumer says he needs to step aside.
Yeah, it's looking tougher and tougher for him to continue on. And the good news is that they have until Monday, if Graham decides to step down, then the Democrats can put someone else on the ballot. And what we're seeing is all the polls are showing that Collins loses to Graham Platner if he stays on the ballot. Obviously, now with this new information, these accusations are extremely credible, very disturbing. His polling numbers will obviously take a hit. But what we've seen this year, when it is a toss-up, when it is red versus blue, when people have a choice, they're choosing Democrats. So the silver lining is, and what will be a fascinating story to watch, is who replaces the Democratic candidate, because the primary already happened, but Maine state law allows the Democratic committee to put someone else on the ballot. And what they've said is they're not just going to handpick someone, they're going to do maybe a caucus or something like that to get Maine voters excited about who could replace this candidate. And I see you have a few of these people on the screen. They've recently run for office in primaries. You have the former governor who was interested in the Senate race. So I think as a political observer like myself and you and the watchers of the show, it'll be extremely intriguing to see what the Maine Democratic Party does to keep that excitement with the Democrats heading into November.
And if he does step aside, which most agree, it's looking more and more likely with the pressure he's facing, how much time does this give Democrats to solidify around one of those potential names?
Yeah, so the Mondays are going to be important to watch. We have until next Monday for Graham to decide, and really only he can make this decision to vacate the line. Then the Democrats have until the 27th of July, which is the Monday after next, almost 2.5 weeks to actually put a candidate on the ballot. And what we've been reading is that the Democratic Party wants to make sure that this is a process that includes rank and file Democrats from across the state, and someone isn't just handpicked by the party or the machine, if you will. And I think that's very important because Graham has this campaign as being an outsider, as being anti-establishment. And as we've seen from New York to Colorado in these primaries, anti-establishment is what voters want and have been asking for. So that will be very interesting to see how the Democrats decide and who voters decide to replace Platner with.
And we just showed, David, a list of top-ranking Democrats who had endorsed Platner in this race. How much do they have to answer for that endorsement now, given the new allegations? And this is not the first serious allegation against him, yet they stood by him until now.
Look, we live in a new political world, right? The political climate where we have the president of the United States who has been accused, and even a court upheld that he was liable in this Jean Carroll case. We've got the Access Hollywood tape, all of these things that allowed someone like Donald Trump to still survive and remain, get reelected and serve as president. So I think the best thing that these elected officials can do is just be honest, be transparent. And as they're learning about these accusations and what is developing, that they're being honest, that, hey, this changes my plan and who I intend to support. And many of those people, they have been public in terms of social media in saying that, look, this is a red line. We know that they're accusations, but the accusations are credible. And at this time, I have to walk back this endorsement. And I think that is something that we look for in politicians, that they're not just rigid and they're unwilling to change their mind, even with new evidence. That doesn't make you a flip-flopper if new evidence is presented and you change your mind. I think that's what people want and they expect from our politicians.
Yeah, honesty, transparency. David Carlucci, appreciate the time. Thank you.
Good to be with you. Thanks.
Still ahead.